Yeah, fresh corn. It seemed, I know at the end of Friday, he kind of came in towards the end of the rotation. Is he looking like a closer setup guy for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what we're looking for as far as with what we got right now. Is one of those high leverage inning type of guys. So to me, sometimes the save doesn't always come at the end of the game if we have to get him in there earlier. But yeah, I mean, that's what we'd love to have. And still kind of letting it play out, but we can all kind of see the kind of stuff he's got and what he brings late innings.
What was it about his skill set that makes him good for that role?
Just he can, he throws 3 or 4 different pitches. He's a strike thrower. That was as wild as I'd ever seen him the other day, just because he was really amped up and he still threw 60% strikes. So, guy can locate, throw different pitches in any count, and it's an elite fastball.
We've talked a lot about Terrence Keel, but going back to his high school days, how'd you guys come across him, and what was it about him when you first saw him that stood out to you? Where was the first time you saw him?
Here, he came to camp. We had a camp, when we first got here with some of the guys that are committed now, some guys that have been drafted, and he just overall, he stood out. What he looks like now is kind of what you projected him to look like. It was a speed. It was a chance to hit for some power at some point. To me, I always thought he could play outfield and infield, and that's still a work in progress. But just overall skill set was really, really good. And I think most importantly is that he wanted to be here. So just all those things stood out from him from the beginning when he stepped on campus.
Yeah, and just how much do you know about his story with his dad playing football here, and just what you've learned about that, and just the uniqueness of him being kind of a second-generation A&M?
I think it's super cool, super cool. I've talked to him about it a little bit, and yeah, I'm really aware of how great of a player his father was here and in the NFL. So I think it doesn't get much cooler than that, and I'm happy for him that he gets to, be a part of that legacy a little bit and in a different sport. So I just think all around I couldn't ask for a better story.
When it comes to pitching and the plan for that this weekend, what does that look like beyond the starting rotation? How many guys are available, and how are you going to look to get guys in games, assuming you get to play 27 innings?
Yeah, we have no one that's not available this weekend. Stewart will be, I'd say, not sure how much, but he's definitely available. Rudis more available. Those guys are now getting back into it and ready to go. But yeah, it really going to depend on the game. As far as like pitch count, like you asked me earlier, we can continue to build as long as just how it's going and how those innings are and how the guys are feeling. As long as they're hot, we're going to go with them. So we want to get some guys into the game, but at the same time, that's going to be score dependent, depending on where we're at and how we feel about them in those situations.
How much does weather impact how you use your bullpen arms and also the guys off the bench and position players?
It'll depend. I mean, if we're in tight ball games, which I anticipate us to be always, we're going to play the game like it's 80 degrees, like we're out there to win. So it doesn't really change much along those lines. So it's like I said before, it's a balance of we want to win every game. We anticipate a close ball game every game. The score changes. If we're down a lot, if we're fortunate enough to be up a lot, that might change who we go to.
Sorella's still out this weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's out. Like, he's going to have to be like 110% for us to play him. And right now with how TK's playing, there was never a rush anyway. But I just want to be super diligent. Sorella's, like I've told him, you're going to play a good majority of this season. I know it sucks right now, especially at the beginning, but we're going to be really, really smart and cautious with him. But he's coming along really nice. Been hitting with him. Swing looks great. It's just about, the thing about Sorrell is he wasn't just a hitter. I think we'd all agree his defense last year was game-changing at times, and I thought he's even better in right field. So, just want to be really cautious and make sure he is really overly ready to go before he gets in there.
How do you evaluate kind of opening weekend defensively, the performance from your team?
Yeah, just not good enough, I would say. No other answer than that. We've got to continue to get better, and that's my fault for not having them apparently not 100% prepared. So we've been preparing as much as we can. With the weather, some of those little mistakes, those fly balls were, 2 of them weren't errors, but those were more mental than physical errors to me, even though they weren't. You know what I'm saying? So it's we got to get better. We got to continue to play loose, play confident. Don't make it a thing. You never want to make a thing. And it's we've talked about it. We've worked on it. I think these guys are really good players, and they're going to continue to get better at it. And it's our job as coaches to put them in positions in practice so they can get better at it.
Do you feel like it's more of like a opening weekend? You said it was kind of a mental thing. Is it something that you feel like we'll work itself out pretty quickly.
You like to think so, right? I mean, because they've been good at it in practice. So there's a part of it too with some guys in different positions. There's a part of it opening weekend, but we won't. I would love for that to be the case and answer. I just, I think it is, but we'll see moving forward.
Is there a defensive position that you wouldn't play TK at, or is he pretty much an all-around guy?
I'd play him in every spot in the outfield and possibly some second base. He's gotten a lot better there. Just my confidence grows in him at second as his confidence grows, and in practice right now the reps have been a little lighter at second because he's been thrusted into a role into the outfield. So I think at some point I can fairly comfortably say at any point in this season he'll play every outfield spot, and I want to put second base out of the question.
How huge is it to have a guy who is that versatile and to be able to plug and play if he's continuing to play like he is?
It's great, and then we got another one too with Yamal, which we haven't seen a lot of yet, just because of the 10-run rule and then the travel day for Elon. So it's huge for the team. And we got another guy you'll see too, Nathan Tobin, who can really run, just like. He's in that same range as TK. So we got some pieces that we can use. It's just we'll utilize them when we can utilize them.
What's a midweek cancellation do for your lineup and your rotation going into the weekend?
Doesn't change anything. I guess some arms that wouldn't have thrown, would be more fresh, but these guys are built up and built for this. I don't think it benefits us either way. I honestly wish we could have got out there and played. There's a benefit to, when you build into the season for practice, with how your arms are, it's really tough as a team to play 3 9-inning games as a team and then roll into the game. So the benefit of this weekend and having 2 shorter games was it allowed us to kind of build something you can't plan on. The same thing with Tuesday. So I'm never happy when we don't play, but just try to take the positive out of it, which being like, okay, another day to get fresh coming after opening weekend. You probably have some soreness you've never had before. It gives you a little extra time to recover, but I would have much rather played.
When you go up big in a game sometimes to get an opportunity to get some young guys some playing time, how do you kind of decide maybe who you want to put in?
Yeah, it's really about who's been performing in practice and who's, earned that opportunity to get in the game. Like, just because we're up big doesn't mean everyone gets to play, right? And there's sometimes your guys who have been starters, they need those at-bats too. They need to get their confidence up and get going. That's partly why some of those guys were left in the game. So it really just depends on how you've been performing in practice. And you don't just get to play because we're winning big or losing big. You got to earn the right to play. And not saying that the guys that didn't play haven't. It's just I didn't think the situation called for it. But yeah, that's the trick, right? You gotta win games while developing players. And in this day and age, you want to play guys so they get used to playing out here in this atmosphere.
What do you see from Cal Poly and just kind of the style of ball they play?
Yeah, it's super well coached. Larry Lee, I think he's one of the best coaches in the country, and they've had a really good program for a long time. They have this, everyone thinks West Coast are going to bunt. They will bunt, but I don't think it's. The more I look at it, it's not as egregious as you might think. When the situation calls for it, they do it. If they need to get in a run in, they will push and do things like that. And with the weather, we could see more of it. But just he's super. I'm not sure how familiar with it, but on the West Coast, he's very highly regarded. Everyone respects him. Really good coach, and that's who JK started under, and just a guy that we have a ton of respect for, and a guy that has a son that's a big leaguer. So he's had a lot of really good players. One of my really good friends coached with him for a year. I've never really heard a bad thing about him. Just said he's a baseball rat and he knows what he's doing.
Any more questions?
Could TK swing from both sides of the plate?
Is this a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he did switch hit a little bit in high school. He can hit left-handed, but he believes coming in that he was way better right-handed. He hasn't hit lefty since he's been on campus. I don't think left-handed is. I think that side's probably retired at this point. As much as I'd love to see him run out of the left-handed box, he is a more natural right. I think it just shows the talent level he has. I could probably put him in a game right now and have him hit left-handed, and I'm not sure what the success would be, but I think it would probably look how it's supposed to look. But he just from the right side, he's definitely better, stronger, and I'd say definitely more confident.